Hey guys, and welcome back to another replay analysis with our friend Grimfaith, the Diamond Zerg Fiend, who plays all three races. And I think Zerg is now his highest, even though he's a Terran main. Don't get a big head, Terran players. Okay? Thinking that your race is hard and Zerg is easy, and that's the only reason why that's the case. Don't get a big head, okay? Zerg is just as hard as Terran. And that's final. I'm not a Terran main, what the fuck? What? Are you a Zerg main? Alright, well, I don't know, fucking... Okay, he's a Zerg main. I thought you were Terran this whole time. Send me all these fucking Terran replays. Never mind. Okay, anyways. We got a Zerg player here, guys. Diamond Zerg. Zerg versus Protoss. Let's see what's going on. Let's help him out. Figure out... What the fuck kind of a split was that? This is the biggest conga line split I've ever seen. No, if for real, okay? This is impactful because you just did the equivalent of walking into someone's house and taking a shit on the floor. And then walking out. Everyone just looks at this and is like, "The fuck is that? This guy's serious?" Okay, no, for real. If you're gonna split your drones, I will say this: the fact that you're trying is good. Keep practicing so that this kind of shit doesn't happen to you in the future. But if you ever grab more than 3 drones in a split, not ideal, okay? 3 is maximum. And the reason why 3 is maximum is because when you're splitting to the side of the mineral line, you're splitting to a group of patches. And that is 3 patches. And if you can click these patches before these drones make it to this patch, it's good. Because you actually do what you did here, which is you make drones mine more efficiently on their patches. They get there early. Now, when you grab all your drones like this, what you just did is you just relocated all of your drones now from these patches, and you have now reestablished all your drones on a different patch, which is this one, which is now 9 fucking drones going to that patch, which is not good. So this is honestly worse than not touching your drones, because you just increased the amount of time now that your drones have to spread themselves out, because you disrupted the initial spread as well. So you've given your drones more running around to do before they even start mining, period. This is actually worse than not touching them. So try to not do that. Try to not make your drones take more, because this is what you're trying to do. The goal of mineral split is trying to avoid your drones from running around as much as possible. And what you've done now is you've increased running here and then back to here, and then they're going to go everywhere again once they get back to the middle, because they're going to have more patches open again. So they're going to go here, then back here, and then they're going to go everywhere else again. And then they'll go back here and back over there again. It's not ideal. So you've probably just wasted like 20 minerals already in the game for what you could have been mining by wasting so much time here. For mineral turn-ins you're missing out on now. Just watch, they'll go back to the middle now, and they'll be stupid. And they'll go around again in a little bit. There we go. So another drone trying to figure out its home in the world here. And this one's going to probably stop right around here. And then now your drones are done. But not ideal. I mean, to be fair, though, you do have 3 out of 4 of your close patches stacked already, which is good. You only have one. This patch right here is the far one that's not stacked. Or this far patch is stacked. And this one close patch isn't stacked properly. So that's good for you to a degree. But yeah, not a good initial spread for sure. Definitely want to not make sure you don't do that in the future. Anyways, we'll move on from that. Let's move on now. Let's move on from that now. You took a third base with your droney boy because there was a probe in your natural, which is totally fine. I don't know what that is right there. Your shift rally. I don't know. That's just spazzy-ness right there. You don't need to do that necessarily. Honestly, you'd want to make sure you run to the middle. This is actually a relevant thing to talk about, I think. Because if you guys didn't know that, anyone who doesn't know this, you should know this. If you tell a probe or a SCV to build a command center or a nexus, if they're at all touching where the nexus or command center will be, they'll build it right off the bat. Even if they're right there, they'll build it. But a drone doesn't work that way. A drone has to go to the center of the building to build it. You have to go to the center of where it is going to be placed. So if, for instance, there was a probe right here, like coming right here, and your drone was at the bottom of its fucking rally point, you running from there to build it could be enough time for the probe to run from like right there and block it. So don't ever do that in the future to yourself. This is fucking absolutely pointless. I don't know why. It's a waste of your time, especially if you're not mineral stacking properly, like you aren't. You still have, this patch still only has one. You should be doing that instead of doing that shit. But it actually is giving you an opportunity to get blocked, and just in case you're at the edge of it when you want to build it, when you should be at the center of it when you want to build it, so it instantly starts. So that's not a good thing to do. But I do like that you just said fuck it and I'm gonna go take my third now. Not wasting your time. That's good. You still have patches that are fucked. This one still has one. This one over here has 3, and then the rest have 2. A little bit of a fuck up there. You're gonna be behind now by like 100 minerals by like 8 minutes because of that, or like 150-ish. More like 100. 150 is a bit much. Like 100. Still, you're gonna be behind. You're like slowly falling behind every minute because that's fucked. And it matters a lot because again, it's your first little bit of economy. All right, let's talk about your scouting. So there are 2 ways to scout Protoss, in my opinion. There are 2 ways to do this. Number 1, not do that. No. Let's talk about this for real, okay? Number 1, you sacrifice your overlord and you make drones. Number 2, you don't sacrifice your overlord and you make lings. Now this game, you are making lings. You're treating this game like a Zerg versus Terran game because you just made 6 fucking lings, which is a lot. That's a lot of lings to make this fast. Now I just want you to know that it is physically impossible for an adept to get to your base, and by the time that these lings are going to be done, it is fucking impossible. And how do you know it's impossible? Because you can physically see the core is not done yet, and you can't make a stalker or an adept until the core is done. And then when the core is done, these units still take a long time to make, even when the core is done. Okay, he's making a unit. And you see that he's not chrono boosting it. So this unit is going to pop out, in theory, at like 250 if he didn't fucking supply block and skip the second pylon. So that's a mistake by him, obviously. But, excuse me. Good God. Whew, sorry. Yeah, anyways. You don't know that. It's not a big deal. It's fine. Now, if your overlord is going to not commit, there's 2 ways you need to do this, okay? If your overlord is not going to commit into the main base and scout deeper in and see things, you need to have your lings over here, and you need to also bring a second overlord. You need to do that. You have to do that. That is a requirement. And here's why it's a requirement. If you don't bring a second overlord, and you keep your first Overlord over a cliff defensively, and the Protoss player walls off his base with a unit, you are playing blind. And that is really bad. Playing blind sucks, because then you're having to figure out what he's doing through other means, and there is a chance you can take damage from things that you don't know are happening. That's really bad. That's super fucking bad. So if you're going to play conservative with your first Overlord, send a second fucking Overlord to his base early. Like, as soon as your natural is not getting cannon rush, and you can confirm that, fucking go to his base over here with a second Overlord, so you can poke in and scout the side of his base. And then your lings that you're going to make like you did should go to his base as well. That way, if he ever walks out of his door, you can run into his base and go scout his base. And then you don't have to send your Overlords in anymore because your lings scouted everything. And that's even better, because then you won't lose an Overlord. That's one of the ways you can scout a Protoss. The other way you can scout a Protoss is not make lings at all until about 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And here's the trick. Here's the trick. If a Protoss player makes a Stalker or an Adept right now, 30 seconds is how long it's going to take for it to be out if this was a non-chrono boosted gateway. And then it would be about 20 seconds. It'll be about 20 seconds if it is chrono boosted. Okay? So that's a big deal if you know that, because think about it like this. What is 30 seconds from now? That's 2:45. That's what I just quoted you for when you're going to probably want to make lings to not die to an Adept. But here's the catch. What if the first unit he makes out of the gateway is a Stalker, and when your Overlord is like right here at like 2:45 or like 2:48, it starts getting shot by a Stalker? Don't make any lings. And why is that? Because that proves that he made a Stalker first, and you don't need to make lings. Because the Stalker is killing your Overlord, there's no units running to your base to attack you. You have nothing to be worried about. You cannot make a fucking Zealot or a Stalker and an Adept at the exact same time. This is not a reactored gateway. It's just one unit at a time. And if he chooses a Stalker first, you don't need to make lings until you have ling speed, which is not until about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And this game, honestly, for you particularly, is not going to be until about 3:40, because you went gas after pool, which is fine. That's not a big deal. That's okay. You can do that. But you don't need to make lings if it's Stalker first, okay? Now, on the other token, though, if your Overlord is in his base and his unit is supposed to spawn out of this gateway by 2:33 if it's chrono boosted, or 2:43 if it's not, and it's not being chrono boosted at all, so 2:43 is going to be the outcome here. If 2:43 comes by, and now let's say your Overlord kept going down, and you're at like, let's say now you're at 2:50, which means that at 2:43 a Stalker could have spawned out, or an Adept, because a Stalker and Adept have the same build time. It's 30 seconds each, so it's identical. But if you're now like 2:43 is when it should have spawned, and if your Overlord's like down here at 2:43, but then you also have to, like, by the time, like, let's say 2:50 comes by, your Overlord will be like right there, and you're giving the Stalker travel time. So 2:43 it spawns, and it comes down the ramp, or it comes down and goes up the ramp and comes into his main. And now at like 2:48 or like 2:50, the Stalker should have been shooting your Overlord, but it just doesn't exist. So you get to like 2:50, and nothing is killing your Overlord. You're like, nothing's attacking me here. At 2:50, that's plenty of time for the Stalker to have been made, and plenty of time for it to travel to my Overlord to kill it. I should make Adepts now. Or, I should make lings now for the Adept. Well, here's the beautiful thing. If the Adept crosses the map, whatever way he decides to go, you can make lings a few seconds after the Adept would have spawned, if you're assuming that he made Adept instead of Stalker because your Overlord's not getting attacked. And you can go, cool, let's make lings now. And lings only have a 17-second build time, and the travel time for an Adept to get across the map is honestly probably like 25 seconds to get to your base, or like 20 seconds. It would have been like 25 if you were here, more like 20 if you're here, because you're closer. So the point I'm trying to make here is you'll have a queen out guaranteed before he gets there, and you'll have lings popping out like at like his adept would be like right about here, as your lings are a few seconds from being able to spawn, or if he was coming here, his adept would be like right here, and your lings would be spawning if you timed it correctly. If you made lings around like 248 to 250. I hope that makes sense. It is so fucking easy to abuse Protoss like this if you know how to scout the 2 different ways. Again, the first way is you have 2 overlords and lings. You try not to lose the overlords, but you use the lings as well to potentially scout him. The second way is you don't even make lings, period, and you just sack an overlord. And the reason why that's okay is because you're losing more money making these lings than what the overlord itself costs to die. Because think about it like this. If you don't need to make lings until ling speed's done, and your ling speed is not in theory going to be done until 340, and your ling speed's also delayed right now for some reason, which I'm not sure why, and you're also not pulling off gas, which I'm not sure why, but we'll talk about that in a second. But if your build is appropriate, and your ling speed, if you went pool after, or sorry, if you went pool before gas, you should have speed by about 340. So if you're not going to make lings until about 17 seconds before that, or like 20 seconds before that, which means you're not going to start making lings until about 3 minutes and 20 seconds, but you just made lings at, what is 16 off of 24? That's 208. 208 to 320. I hope this makes sense. That's a difference of time that you could have made lings instead of or so you could have made drones instead of lings. And the lings are going to finish right about 1 second from now at like 225. If you made drones at 208, your drones would have finished at 220 because drones have a 20-second build time, okay? And drones have a 1 mineral per second mining efficiency. So what does this mean? That is 60 seconds of difference there, right? That where you're going to have lings, but you could have had drones. And you multiply it by 3 because you made 3 fucking sets of lings with your larva. You could have made 3 drones instead. So you could have mined 180 minerals in that amount of time, which is more than what an overlord is worth. Or you could make 6 lings and see what you do with them. That's why I personally think sacking an overlord is better. Because if they make a stalker, you get away with fucking lings, or you get away with drones that you don't need to make lings at all, and you actually make more money than what the overlord cost. It's so fucking easy to replace it. And you make more money in the end, and like later on, about 1 minute later. And yeah, 6 lings is a big investment. That's pretty committed. So this, I would say, really needs to get something done aggressively. Like if this guy does not, like if he sends an adept to your base, you cannot lose a drone. If you lose a drone, this is so fucking bad for you because you're already a little bit further down on drones than you'd want to be. This is very, very, very safe. This is almost like you just built a spine crawler at levels of safeness here. Not quite because it's lings and they're mobile, but it's almost like that. So I hope that makes sense. It's pretty crucial to know these things. Now I don't know what you're doing. Now let's move on from that. That's important to know how to scout a Protoss. It's important to really know how to abuse Protoss early game with an economy. But now let's talk about your economy. You're fucking your economy like crazy here. What is the point of mining 3 on gas still and not getting Zergling speed? Are you going fast layer? Like what is this? What are you doing? You're getting another queen. You're getting another queen again here. You're delaying your 3rd base. You have almost 200 gas right now. You're not spinning your larva. You have 4 fucking larva. What's on your head? Are you talking about the Overwatch hat? What do you mean? Dude, your build... I don't actually play Overwatch. I just like the hat. I played Overwatch a lot in the beta. I moved on from that game, though. I'm not actually a big Overwatch fan. But I do like this hat, though. It's a nice hat. Your build is so... Dude, your build is already so fucked. If this is your standard, this is so fucking bad. You're doing nothing with gas, and you're doing a gas priority in your build. You're not stopping the gas mining. Your third is very delayed. And you can't even afford it properly, because when you made it, you can't even spend your larva. And you're about to supply block. Do you even have an overlord in production? No. You can't afford any of this. If you just took your drones off of gas, you could have afforded everything. You could have afforded link speed, which you don't even have started. You could have. I'm glad though that you actually chose to go for a third before link speed, with how far behind you are now. Like your build is fucked up, but it's really only fucked up because you're just not stopping. This is the anchor on your build right now. It's like dragging you down. What is the point of this? Your larva not being... So this is what I would say you should have done. With how fucked up this build is. You should have prioritized your larva first, and then you should have prioritized your third base, and then you should have prioritized your extra queens. However, you would not have needed to have prioritized any of those things if you just stopped mining fucking gas, because you could have afforded all of it. You could have afforded a third base with queen, with link speed, with spinning your larva. This is awful. And also, you're pairing this with this. You are 5 drones down what you could have been for a long time mining minerals, when you only have... Like, just now you're getting some drones on the mineral line too, right? Because you're making some of them as you go. But you've had, like, no drones mining... Alright. It's not that bad. Don't cry. It's okay. I'm just trying to give you advice. You're not that... It fucking sucks. Okay? I'm not sugarcoating this. It's terrible. It's really bad. You have no mining going on this base, dude. It's fucking really bad. It's rough. And again, you're supply blocked. And you have 6... You're larva capped on both bases right now. Bro. This is brutal. You just now started link speed, and you're still mining the gas. What the fuck is this? Notice how you have 9 larvae. Your build, like, think about it for a second. What about your build needs gas? Zergling speed. What else? Nothing. What are you doing? You're taking a hatchery. Overlords, queens, drones, lings, mineral, all mineral. Yet you always have a lot of gas in the bank because you're mining so much of it. Mine the gas later when you need it. Like, leaving 1 drone in the gas is totally okay to pace your layer eventually, because here's why leaving 1 drone in the gas is okay. You can afford everything else still. That's why it's okay. If doing a build with leaving 1 drone on the gas meant that you had to have larva always sitting there, meant that you had to delay everything, you were a supply block because you were like, I can't afford an overlord yet. Fuck. Okay, now I can. Now I'm supply blocked again, and now my larva's capping. If that's what doing this shit does to leave 1 drone on the gas, I'd say don't leave any on the gas. That sucks then. But you can afford everything by leaving 1 drone on the gas, because it slows the pacing of your gas down so much that it allows you to prioritize minerals in the process, and you have the majority of your drones mining minerals, all but 1. That's why leaving 1 drone on the gas is okay. But you left 3 the whole time. This is so bad for you. I can't begin to stress how bad this is for you. Like, it is so bad. It is crazy bad. You always have so much larva. You should have 0 constantly. This larva should not exist right now, because it should be instantly spent, instantly spent, instantly spent if you're doing a 3-base speedling expand. And it's not the case. It's always there. And it's like a relatively high number too. It's not 1. There's 1. Notice how you're finally starting to get it down once your mineral saturation is starting to go up. Your mineral saturation could have gone up a lot faster. like, this is a big deal, okay, guys? I want you to know something. This is a really big deal. For people out there that don't realize how big of a deal this is, this Zerg already, if this was you in a game, okay, this Zerg is already probably like fucking 20 seconds behind where you would want to be in this game right now. And that is really not acceptable when you play against someone who does not make their build right off the bat 20 seconds behind by 4 minutes for no reason. This is why if you ever fight someone and you're like, ah, shit, he killed me. The timing was too hard. I don't know how to stop that. These are the reasons why you fucking die. These are the reasons why you're going to fucking die to timings. Because your upkeep, or like your development of your base is awful. Like, it's just inefficient. It'd be like saying this. Imagine we have something simple to do. Imagine you have a car, and the car has groceries inside of it. And you got to take groceries from the car into the house. And an average trip takes you 20 seconds, going from point A to point B. So it's 40 seconds round trip. And then you decide you're going to take a full 2 minutes because you want to take way too many groceries at once, and you over encumber yourself, and you're like bobbing and weaving in your pathway to get from point A to point B because you're about to fall over every time you take a step. And then you have to stop halfway through because your arms are getting tired. And instead of taking 40 seconds to do 2 trips, you take 2 minutes to do 1 trip. Which means overall, you just made your trip really slow compared to what it would have been otherwise. You still got it done either way. But you made it really fucking slow because you did an inefficient thing. Because you're doing more than you can handle right now. It doesn't make it, like, it just doesn't make any sense. You have 300 gas in the bank that you're doing nothing with. Don't tell me how to fucking carry groceries, vibe. You're doing nothing with the gas. You're just mining minerals and making mineral stuff, which is good. But why the fuck are you mining so much gas? Nice scout on the 3rd. That was good. Your Roach Warren's timing was okay. A little bit late, but okay. You should have taken this. Here's the thing, right? Watch this. Watch this. Look at when you take the Roach Warren. You probably can barely afford it. Look at the Roach Warren. You're like, ah, fuck. I'm going to take this thing at like 4 minutes and 5 seconds, or 4:02 rather. Because I can barely afford it right now. I took the Roach Warren and I still have 2 larvae sitting there that I can't spend yet. I don't have enough money to spend both of them right now. That should never be the case. You should be able to make this Roach Warren and spend all your larvae. And you want to know why that is? Because it costs pure minerals. And your build should have been pure minerals the entire time. And also, your Roach Warren should not have gone down at 4:02. You know when it should have gone down? Probably like 3 minutes and 40 seconds. 3:40. 3:40. So this thing is late and you still could barely afford it. And again, it's because it's a snowball effect. First of all, your gas fucks up your drone mining early on, and then you're trying to recover by making a bunch of drones and making all your other stuff like your link speed and your 3rd base and your queens and your overlords. But you can barely afford all of this, and you're always late on everything. And what this means is every single drone that is late is mining minerals at a later stage of the game, so you have less money than you would have otherwise. Here's how this works. This is, a lot of people don't think about the game like this, but this is very real. If you're supposed to make drone 40, okay? Or like drone 30. Let's just say drone 30. If you are supposed to make drone 30 exactly at 3 minutes, instead though, your build is fucked up and you make drone 30 at 3 minutes and 20 seconds instead. That means that at 4 minutes, that drone has mined 20 less minerals than he could have mined up to that point, and you are now 20 minerals behind just for that one drone. And if drone 31, if drone 32, drone 33, drone 34, drone 35 are all 20 seconds behind as well, just like drone 31 was, you are effectively 20 minerals behind per drone at that point in the game. Because they all could have been mining for 20 more seconds longer than they would have otherwise.
I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I'm really rich.
As you go later on throughout the game, it adds up between all your workers. Which is why if a build... This is why I stress so hard on builds that suck cock. Because if it does, you're going to pay the price for it off of every individual drone. Like, if there was a number above every drone's head that represented... It was like a green number that was like, this guy was 17. This guy is 12. This guy is 16. This guy is 8. This guy is 5. This guy is 2. This guy is 23. This guy is 21. This guy is 19. All these numbers combined mean this is how late each one of these drones were throughout the game for each one of the cycles that you built them in. And because they were all late at their own different times, it's going to make everything in your build late, following it for forever because you have less money to work with, which throws off all your timings. So everything's late. Everything is late. You can't have things in your build that forcefully make everything late. And the fact that you went to a larva cap and 9 larvae sitting on your hatcheries, so you were supply blocked and you were larva capped for like a chunk of time, your build just from that one point alone was so fucking bad. You should never ever even come remotely close to larva capping, because that meant that you were not, like, the fact that you had 9 larvae on the hatcheries meant that you not only larva capped through automated larva, but you also larva capped through having automated larva cap up to 3, and then an inject popped off, and then you had that too. Because that meant that you had to have had at least like 5 fucking larvae, 4 to 5 larvae on your hatcheries, to then have an extra 6 go up there to 9. And then I don't even know if you went up to above 9, maybe you went to 10, or you actually can't at that point because you can't generate larvae anymore beyond 6. But you get the point though. Like it's fucked. It's rough. Your build is so far behind. This is so messed up for you already. And this is going to make the entire game feel hard now. Your whole game, like, if this guy, here's how this works. From now on, if this guy is Diamond 3, well, guess what? Your build is now going to make this guy feel like he's Masters 2. Because your build sucks ass. And you're going to be like, man, this guy's hard to beat. Holy God. This Protoss is really good. But it could just be your build is really bad for developing. However, if your build is really good, and this guy was Diamond 3, he might feel like he's Platinum 2 now, because your build is clean as fuck. And now this guy feels like a joke because your developing process makes him feel weak and bad. Your developing process in your build cannot suck ass this bad. Otherwise, it's going to make every game feel harder. And it's such an easy fix. It's such an easy fix.
So mean.
No, it's not. It's the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts. Fucking learn to live with it. Ugh. It's true, though. It's true. I like to make fighters in the VFAM. I don't like to make sugar-coated scrubs. All right. Now you're making roaches. What are you doing with your larva? What is happening right now? What the fuck is happening? What are you doing right now? What, okay, let me go to your camera. What is happening? You're injecting. You're not paying attention to your supply. You are fucking around way too hard with this rally point with these hatcheries. This has been like 7 seconds of rotating rally point hatcheries. I think you keep trying to build units and you're like, wait, what? I can't. Ah, shit, supply block. You are macroing. You did just make 2 overlords 6 seconds ago. That's what you started doing here. And you made a drone as well. Maybe I was off your camera for a second there too. I think it was my fault. But yeah, like the fact that you now have 1,000 minerals in the bank, and you're still in the droning developing phase, and you still have quite a ways to go. You're only at 50 drones. This is happening because your macro is falling apart. It's not happening because this is normal. You're developing money slower than you should be, and you're also not spending it as fast as you should be. Things are falling apart for you. For sure, right now. And you're also saturating your 4th base before you're fully saturated on your existing bases. You're missing 1 drone here, and you're missing 4 drones here. Because you got to make the gas and then saturate the gas. So you're missing 5 drones in your main, and you're starting to saturate your 4th. Or 5 drones between your 3 bases, and you're saturating your 4th now. And now you're missing 3 more drones here because you're building buildings, so you're still saturating your 4th. Okay. So you took a gamble, right? You didn't scout a fucking thing. This harkens back to our original point we were making in this game, which is you have to scout one way or the other. You need to scout his base with your first overlord and not make lings until you need to. Or you need to have 2 overlords and your lings come across the map, if you're going to make lings, to then poke and try and not lose your shit, but also get a scout off. You didn't do either one of those things. You just sent 1 overlord and that was it. And you made lings and sat defensively with them because you were paranoid about adepts. And then you never scouted anything. You scouted the 3rd base eventually, which could have meant anything. When you scouted it at like 430, 440, which could literally mean anything. It could just mean that this guy's going for a macro 3rd. Doesn't mean anything realistically. Doesn't mean like something specific. But you didn't scout shit, and now Void Rays are showing up in a decent amount of them, and you don't have any preparation here. You're about to need preparation H because your asshole's about to hurt. Okay, he's going to fly in your main, probably, would be my guess. Okay. You're so fucking... What is people... Okay, people make crazy decisions in Diamond League, right? The fact that he fought you... You were lucky. Okay. How many drones do you have? Okay, you have 87. Stop making drones. Take a 5th base. Good job. You're making Hydras too. Good job. Good upgrades. I like it. You should be starting an you should be taking this fucking gas already. You should be starting an infestation pit. I think you totally forgot about this gas. Taking this gas and starting an infestation pit, and then starting a hive and making a lurker den. You want to take a hive faster than 3-3 upgrades are ready to go when you play this style against Protoss, because you don't want to be pacing lurkers with 3-3. You want to have lurkers a bit faster than 3-3 because you want to have lurkers kind of like as soon as possible. Because if this guy goes for like a bunch of like Storm with Skytoss and you have no lurkers and just Hydras, your chances of dying are going to be very high. You really need to get fucking Infestation Pit like now. As soon as you can afford it while making Hydras, start that shit right away. Against Terran, you can delay it a bit longer with proper upgrade timings because Terran doesn't have Psionic Storm. That shit fucking owns though. And you really need lurkers. Or like if this guy does a Colossus push, you're also gonna die if you just have Hydras. That's really scary. So your Infestation Pit is very late. You're pacing with your upgrades, which is not ideal. You're pushing with Hydras. Again, if this guy has Lurker, or sorry, if this guy has Storm, or he's got Storm, you're gonna have a bad. You're potentially gonna have a bad day. Thank God for you though. He does have a lot of Zealots, which is a shitty army versus you. Zealots are really bad, and that's the majority of what he has. Like I would have assumed he was gonna keep going Skytoss with how hard he opened up in Void Rays, but he went mass Zealots as a follow-up to that, which is not the smartest choice to go against Roaches and Hydras. This guy's making some weird choices here. But Storm is actually a problem for you. If a couple of those storms hit you, that's going to hurt. Oops. Okay, you're maxed out. Production-wise, you have an infestation pit. Good shit. You should be starting 2-2. Honestly, like as soon as possible. I know you're kind of busy with this attack, though. So, this attack, not good. Not good. Grim. Let me tell you why. All you needed to do, this is advanced a little bit, but what you need to do when you play against someone who has Templars in their army to storm you, you need to look at their Templar, glance at it, and glance at their energy bar. And you need to know what an energy bar looks like when it has energy to storm you. And an energy bar that is 2 really dark pink bars, or like violet bars, with a 3rd faded bar means they can storm you. And then if you double that with 5 really dark faded, or 5 really dark violet bars, they can storm you twice. Or like 4 really dark bars can kind of storm you twice, honestly. Like pretty much 2 dark violet boxes in the bars can pretty much cast the storm. Like the third one, we're talking the third one's very fucking faded. It's not like fully lit up. Because each one of these bars represents 1/5 of 200. And what is 1/5 of 200? It's like 33-ish, or like 34. It's 34 exactly, right? 1/5 of 200 is 34, right? It's 34. So each bar, each box represents 34. So 34, 68. Is it 40? Wait, what? Am I stupid? Hold on. Is it 40? What am I talking about? I'm fucking so dumb. Where am I getting 34 from? It is 40. Jesus Christ. What the fuck is wrong with me? No, yeah, it's 40. I'm so dumb. It's 40. As soon as you said that, I was like, wait, what? Yeah, that's right. I'm so dumb. Okay, it's 40. So, yeah, 2 really dark. So think about it like this. If there's 5 bars here, 40 represents 1 bar, 2 bars represents 80, and a storm is actually 75. So yeah, you don't even need to worry about the 3rd faded. It's just 2 fucking dark violet boxes, because the darker it is, the more it fills up. That's how this works. Like you can tell that this bar right there is faded. The 4th one's faded on this guy, but the first 3 are not faded. That means that is guaranteed 4, 8, 12, and probably somewhere in the realm of the next 40. So that's 12, somewhere between 12 and 16. So that if you had to guess how faded that would be, I would say that Templar probably has like 140 to 150 energy. And if we click him, he's got 140 energy, right? So yeah, makes sense. So that's how you can analyze, that's how much energy he has. And the energy is based off of 75s for storms, because it's how much it costs for a storm. So if you look at these and you can kind of calculate, these guys probably don't have a storm. Why do they not have a storm? Because the second bar isn't even, they just cast storms a second ago, and the second bar is not dark enough to be worth it. That's a mostly faded, it's like mostly covered, but I would say that Templar probably has around like 65. Fuck yeah, right? I didn't even click that before. I guessed. 65. Why did I say 65? Because that's pretty well saturated, but not like colored in deep enough. Like the left and the right there look a little bit different. It's not as dark enough yet. So the first one definitely represents 40, and the second one is on its way to 40, but it's not there yet. It's like a guesstimation, and experience will help you realize what it is. Yeah, and the other guys are going to be closer to 150, right? So, but as soon as they storm, they're going to drop back down to what these guys were, because you probably made them at the same time. So, I don't know what all this math stuff is. Each bar represents 40. And why is that? Because there's 5 bars, and a Templar's total energy pool represents 200, and this is a representation of its energy pool. So 200 divided by 5 is 40. That's why each bar represents 40. I was joking, I get it. Okay, I'm just making sure. If someone probably doesn't get it. And storm energy required is 75. So that's why we're getting these numbers from, for anyone who doesn't understand. So what you should have done here is you ate a lot of storm. But you worked your way through quite a bit of it. Right here, what you should have done, as soon as you took the fight and he walked his zealots forward, you should stutter step backwards. Because you can mitigate storm damage and kill zealots because they're melee. So as soon as he charged in like that, fucking kite backwards. The perfect response to him charging zealots like that, kite, attack, kite, attack, kite, attack. Don't just stand there and face tank it because you're going to get stormed if you face tank it. It makes no sense. And if you do face tank it, you're going to take a shitload of damage. Like that. And now all these zealots are going to grind through your hydras. And now that your hydra count got kind of whittled down, the chance of him actually defending this is a little bit higher. Because you don't have enough DPS anymore. If you would have just kited there, you could have actually won this fight and then won the game right there. But now the fight's over, and now he's making double robo units. And for the love of God, if those are Colossus, you were so dead. Obviously, we know they're not. But if those were, and you're just going to keep making hydras, you'd be absolutely dead. He's making, well, like, to be fair, though, you're not making hydras. You're making roaches, so you'd actually be okay if those were Colossus with how many roaches you're making. You're playing this like you play... So you're still playing this like a platinum player, Grimfaith. You're playing this like a plat player, and you're going to have to eventually overcome this. You can't fucking play platinum for life. You can't just make do with Roach Hydra every game. You have to add something else in your composition eventually. I feel like you did this last time too. Like where you just went Roach Hydra in Diamond. If I'm not mistaken. Maybe I am mistaken, but yeah. Nice run by. You're getting stormed on both fronts though, unfortunately. I got Diamond 2 going Roach Hydra. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. You can win, but you're going to have a hard time winning games if this is all you do. If you added in some type of follow-up to this, like if you start going into like Lurker, you'd have so much more fucking power against this army if you added Lurkers in, as opposed to just going Roach Hydra. Lurkers do the same thing Roaches do, but better, honestly. And look, you like threw another army away. You're giving this guy a chance to come back. And you're doing it again. You're doing more Roach Hydra. And you're going Ultras. Ultra's not a great choice here because you're not even getting melee upgrades. And he's also going Immortals, which is like a hard counter to Ultras. You're kind of playing yourself if you go Ultras here. Lurkers are the way you should have won this game. Hive Tech Lurkers, man. Not fucking Ultras. Because here's the thing. If you burrow a Lurker in front of the Protoss, a Lurker can outrange an Immortal. It can outrange a Templar. It can outrange a Zealot. It can outrange an Archon. It can outrange a Colossus. It can outrange everything that Protoss has in the entire game except for a Disruptor. And it can barely not outrange a Disruptor. Barely. But if you have upgrades on your Lurkers, and you have speed with burrow movement and movement speed overall, you can actually up burrow your Lurkers if Disruptor shots come at you, back up, go forward again after they expire, and then burrow again. So there is no downside to going Lurkers here at all for you. It's actually like the best unit you could be making, especially since he's not even using Disruptors either, which is the only thing you'd have to be a little bit scared of. He's going mass Zealots, Immortals, and Archons. If you had like 12 Lurkers, you could kill all the Zealots as they try to engage, and then all of the Immortals and Archons would be fighting against your Lurkers plus your Hydras, as your Lurkers and Hydras would just melt down the rest of the army. And also the Templars would die so fucking fast if they ever got touched by any cleave either. Like, it would just make this army very trivial to fight against. You burrow 12 Lurkers, and then you let your Lurkers take the fight initially, and you kill him off of your Lurkers. So don't stand in front of your Lurkers, stand behind your Lurkers, but still with an auto attack radius of covering your Lurkers. I hope that makes sense. Like, if your Lurkers are here, your Hydras would be where the Creep Timbers are. Behind it. Like, you'd want to cover the Lurkers to where when Zealots are on top of them, your Hydras shoot the Zealots off of them. Do not stand in front of the Lurkers and get stormed and then not have your Lurkers helping you. You would easily beat this army if you played that way. And then once you killed his AoE, push forward, it doesn't matter anymore because he doesn't have any anymore. The way you're making your army, though, you're so susceptible to Storm the entire game, and also Immortals and Zealots and Archons to just clean up the rest. And now you're going for a base trade, which is best case scenario for you because your army sucks compared to what he has. He just threw the game away. This Protoss just threw the game. You're going to win this game. You should win this game right now because he just recalled half of his fucking army into a base that was already dead, and now he's abandoning the base trade, and he's going to fight your entire army with half of his army. He just threw the game in the trash. So you did win this game, but you won this game through the mistakes of your opponent rather than the victories of your own gameplay. Honestly. The fact that you can remax as much as you do is nice, but I feel like right now what you are is a Frankenstein Zerg. You're like a mindless beast. You're basically just running out there trying to grab shit and like rip it in half. Right, you're like Zombie Stein. If you get some more strategy to your gameplay, you're going to be such a scarier, more formidable Zerg player. And I'm telling you right now that if you add in lurkers to your gameplay, in your repertoire of gameplay, not only does it synergize better with the upgrades you're going for, it was actually the better choice to go for anyways, because it's just a better unit against Protoss as a whole. Then Ultras fucking suck against Protoss, I'm telling you right now. There's only one time ever Ultras are acceptable against Protoss. And that is if you have good armor upgrades, the Protoss is going 100% Sky Toss with Templar. With High Templar. And then you can use not 8 Ultras, but instead like 2 or 3 Ultras and run them at the Templar because he has no ground units to cover the Templar. And then he has no damage that can pierce through the Carapace fast enough to cover the Templar. So the Ultras just kill all the Templar. That's the only time Ultras ever have a place against Protoss, if that's the scenario. Otherwise, if you're fighting a guy who has double Robo Immortals and Archons, it's not time to make Ultras. The only reason why you won this game is because this guy threw the fucking game. But overall, your macro is still overpowering your opponents. So good job on that. But dude, like, you have, like, there's so much more potential for you. Your creep spread is mediocre. Make your creep spread better throughout the game. Your build order openers are god awful. Your build order openers are the worst part about your gameplay. Like, your lack of scouting and your lack of compositional awareness is not good either. That's like your second worst quality. But your worst quality is your openers. Your build order openers are, I feel like you're just winging it every time because you have a lot of shit openers. And you're playing hard mode StarCraft when your openers are just complete shit. And they don't need to be. It's the most easy thing to fix for your gameplay. And if you did fix it, you would be such a stronger player. Because that is such an easy thing to fix that is making the entire game for you harder than it has to be. Because it sets the pace for your entire game. So fix your early game openers. Like this game specifically, fix it the way we talked about. Stop doing a gas fucking heavy mining on gas. And fix your scout initially. And make more drones faster. Make more minerals faster. Like take a third faster. Do all the mineral things faster without mining a ton of gas. That gas sucked. Like no, there was 0 point to that. Would coaching help out with that? I mean, coaching or replay analysis will help you. If this was a coaching lesson, I probably would also give you a guide, like a build guide to follow. But you could take it upon yourself and go copy someone's build. There's a lot of repetition and efficiency, and you want to know why? Because there's a certain way to play the game efficiently at high levels. That's why everybody does the same builds. That's why there's a meta. It's because you can't do anything you want because it sucks ass. You have to play efficient if you want to be good at StarCraft. It's kind of how it works. Doesn't mean you have to do the exact same build as everyone else. It just means your build needs to be efficient. And if your build is going to be a mineral build, it means you need to fucking do a mineral build and not mine gas. That is the only way that works. And a lot of builds would show you that. Like, it doesn't have to just be me. If you copied like Raynor or Cyril or Rogue or someone out there that has a speedling opener, they're going to show you something that's efficient with an opener. They're not going to mine 400 fucking gas and have 9 larvae sitting there doing nothing. That's really bad. So definitely fix your openers and definitely try to work on understanding composition. And against Protoss, Hydra Lurker is very effective. Way more effective than going 3/3 upgrades of Carapace and ranged weapons and then going Ultra Ling. Ultra Ling against Protoss is literally throwing the game in the trash. It is such a bad fucking rotation. Because Archons are good against all of that. Immortals are going to... Like, Archons are going to obliterate your Lings so fucking fast that they're just going to disappear. The Immortals then are going to not have to kill Lings. They're going to kill your Ultras because the Lings are going to be gone. And the Zealots are going to buy enough time to where the Zealots are going to die while the Lings die. And then it's going to become Ultras versus Archon Immortal. And Archon Immortal is going to completely fucking curb stomp Ultras. Like, if you have 12 Ultras versus like 10 Archons and 10 Immortals, you will kill 10... Or the 10-10 Protoss Archon Immortal will kill 12 Ultras of Zerg and only lose maybe like 2 Archons out of the entire fucking army. It is actually a joke how bad that is for Zerg. And you might not kill anything, to be honest, because you're going to concave and you're going to spread your damage out because you can't stack damage with melee units. Anyways, I hope this helps. Grimfaith, I hope this helps you. This was a lot of info to throw at you. Some micro tips in there. There was a lot of macro tips in there. Composition tips, scouting tips. But I hope this helps you. And anyone else out there who's Zerg that's struggling, I hope this helps you too. But thanks for Grimfaith. You know I love you at the end of the day. I know I'm hard on you. I know I'm hard on everybody, honestly. If you guys do a lot of replay analysis, I'm going to definitely be harder and harder on you as time goes on because I want to make sure you're getting real info. You're not having me just go, well done. You guys know how it is. You know, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to help you as much as I can by making sure you don't think that shitty gameplay is good and you can fix that. Because you definitely can. And sometimes it's really easy to fix it too. But yeah, I will see you in the... Guys, all of you who watched, I will see you in the next video, whatever it might be. Thanks for watching. Good luck. And have a good night. Peace, guys. See ya.